Risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
This is Talk Radio, WCZN.
1819 News.
Republican John Wall is running in the lieutenant governor's primary race this year. He says he wants the state to make the repeal of the grocery sales tax permanent. The 2% state sales tax on groceries is currently on hold for 2 months until the end of June. Wall says that he strongly advocated for the tax suspension when he was still the chairman of the Alabama Republican Party and before he jumped into the lieutenant governor's race. Wall said that any relief right now to Alabamians is a good thing and a step in the right direction. He says that taxing groceries is one of the most unfair burdens placed on residents here in the state and that he will seek to eliminate this grocery tax permanently. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Are you enjoying 1819 News? If so, consider joining 1819 News as a member. As a nonprofit news organization, we depend on the support of Alabamians like you. Memberships start out as little as $5 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive content only offered to our members. You'll be supporting independent journalism done by people who cherish Alabama values. Become a member today by visiting 1819news.com and clicking Become a Member. That's 1819news.com and click Become a Member today.
A family of 3 in the town of Clay was able to escape a house fire with their lives, but not anything else. The family found their rental home on fire this past Monday morning after a smoke detector went off. Firefighters are investigating the cause of the blaze. The house was totally destroyed. An Alabama man has filed a copyright infringement claim regarding a police training manual. Johnny Lee Smith claims he wrote the training manual for certifying police officers here in Alabama back in 2014. Smith now says that his content was stolen by the U.S. Army. He says the U.S. Army Civilian Police Academy out of Missouri is unlawfully appropriating, reproducing, and distributing his content after Army personnel attended one of his training programs. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This is Talk Radio, WCZN.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at All About Water. Crazy name, huh? Well, let me introduce you to them. All About Water is the top pond builder anywhere in the Tennessee Valley, and that includes remodeling or cleaning out existing ponds as well. They also have monthly maintenance plans for your pond. Don't have a pond? Well, how about a fountain or water feature for your property to bring that soothing sound of running water to your happy place? On the other hand, maybe you have water on your property that you don't want. Well, Ryan at All About Water is all about water, so he could take care of that as well. He has a background in fluid dynamics, and what that means is that he could take care of any water issue that you have. Finally, how about that irrigation system that you have or that you want? Well, they do installs and maintenance and repairs on those as well because they are all about water. Learn more at allaboutwaterllc.com. That's allaboutwaterllc.com.
Hey folks, Arthur Seed, managing partner at University Kia, letting you know we are proud supporters of Alabama and Auburn football. Swing by University Kia today and check out our huge selections of brand new Kias, including the spacious Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the slick new K5, the sporty Kia Seltos. We've got perfect cars for every lifestyle and budget. Visit universitykia.com to view all our amazing offers and get pre-approved amenities, because we want to see you in a Kia. Roll Tide, War Eagle.
AL cert number 21014.
Welcome into the hottest and coolest game show around called The Freeze. Today's contestant, Bob. Bob, can you tell me the heating and air business that provides free service with repair?
Is it Talent Heating and Air Conditioning?
Can you tell me which heating and air business provides free second opinions?
Talent Heating and Air Conditioning.
You are a grand prize winner. You have won a visit from the #1 heating and air business in the Tennessee Valley.
Talent Heating and Air Conditioning?
That's right. Talent Heating and Air is coming to you.
This is Thomas with Talent Heating and Air Conditioning, and you don't have to win a game show to use us. We have free second opinions year-round, and this summer we're doing free service calls with a repair. So just remember, call Talent Heating and Air Conditioning at 256-503-4490 or visit us on our website at talenthvac.com.
your Fox 54 update.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 70s. Some of us could see 80 degrees. A passing shower is possible across the area, but I do think the vast majority of us are going to be dry, dropping into the mid 60s as we head into the overnight. Showers and thunderstorms are going to be likely as we head into Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. Some of that activity could be strong or severe. Temperatures climbing into the mid 70s.
Your Fox 54 forecast, only on Talk Radio WZZN. This is The Point with Bill Crawford on Talk Radio WZZN. A compassionate, conservative, reasoned voice. Not just for today's headlines, but for issues that matter to you. Perspective from a distinguished career of service in the U.S. Army. Courage from hours in the pilot seat of a military helicopter in war and in peace. Knowledge of cultures from around the world. Experience from a lifetime of service to America. What matters to you, from the dinner table to the halls of power. Conservative, compassionate, reason. That's The Point.
Welcome, fellow Alabama friends, citizens, and patriots. This is The Point with Bill Crawford on Talk Radio WZZN, along with producer extraordinaire Brian Temple. Brian, how you doing today? Great?
It's a great day. The sunshine really did me good today.
Oh, the sunshine is just calling me, but we are here in our little windowless room, but we will just deal with that. And it's going to still be shining when we get out there. But thank you for joining us today.
Huntsville's best yard man, Deacon, came by and did the yard yesterday. Got the garden beds ready. We're ready to start planting.
And all you had to do was watch, right?
That's right.
That's the best kind of yard work, is yard work you do with your eyes.
Yep.
And yesterday, the 4th was with us. And today, there's another kind of sort of little holiday going on, if you will. And that is called Cinco de Mayo. And a lot of people think Cinco de Mayo is about nothing but tacos and tequila and tortillas. But there's a little bit of history behind Cinco de Mayo that I wanted to share with everybody, because I bet you have no idea what it is. Cinco de Mayo is something a lot of people think is Mexican Independence Day, but it's actually not. That was September 16th, which was a bit earlier after that. But what it marks is something that was a significant date in the history of Mexico. In the early 1860s, Mexico is in trouble, financially and politically. Kind of sounds like today. The country had gone through years of internal conflict and, quite frankly, was a broke country. So broke they couldn't even pay their debts that they owed to many European countries. Well, that did not sit well with a lot of the countries in Europe, in particular France, which at that time was ruled by Napoleon III. And Napoleon had bigger ambitions. He wasn't just looking to collect a debt. He wanted to build a French empire in the Americas. So the French sent in the troops. At this time, if you hearken back in the history books, France had one of the most powerful, well-trained armies in the world. And Mexico's forces were smaller, under-equipped, and frankly, outmatched on paper. But as we know from following football, games are not won on paper. Enter Generalissimo Ignacio Zaragoza. I think I got the accent correct on that. On May 5th, 1862, near the city of Puebla, his Mexican army of about 2,000 faced off a French army of about 6,000 and defeated them against all odds. And again, remember, France was one of the dominant military powers of the time, but Mexico drove them back, and it was a stunning upset. Now, what the people often missed is that really wasn't the end of the war in France, who regrouped, and they did occupy Mexico City for a while. But Cinco de Mayo was a symbol of Mexican resistance, national pride, and reminder that you can get a lot done with just determination and grit. And here in North Alabama, where we have lots of soldiers, military engineers, and folks who understand service and sacrifice, you can kind of appreciate that kind of a story. In Mexico, Cinco de Mayo, not that really a big deal. It's celebrated pretty much only in the state of Puebla, where the battle took place. But it is not a nationwide shutdown like their Independence Day. Cinco de Mayo took off here in the United States. It goes back to the Mexican-American communities in this country in the 1800s, especially in places like California. That day was celebrated as a point of cultural pride, especially during the time when the U.S. was engaged in the Civil War. So let's bring it to today, to the 20th century, particularly the 1960s and 1970s. And Cinco de Mayo became attached to the Chicano movement and a broader push for American-Mexican identity, civil rights, and cultural recognition. And let's be honest, corporate America saw a way to cash in. In the 80s and 90s, it became a major marketing event. Restaurants, beverage companies, retailers, you name it, they all jumped in and they said, hey, let's do something for Cinco de Mayo. And that's why today, for many Americans, Cinco de Mayo is just a party centered around food, music, and yes, maybe even more than a few margaritas. But it's really about a deeper story, and it's about a story of historical significance to the Mexican community. It's about standing your ground when the odds are stacked against you. It's about cultural identity, how traditions evolve, especially in a country like ours, where communities bring their history to this country and reshape it in often new and better ways. And that's really what Cinco de Mayo has become in America. A blend of history, celebration, heritage, adaptation, and I would also say Mexican food and tequila.
Well, you had me at Mexican food and tequila.
Yes, you had me at Mexican. Do you do anything for this, Brian, at all?
Not especially. I mean, we might have a margarita on the porch tonight, but that's about it.
Well, I can say this. In my little hometown of Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, Cinco de Mayo for all of my youth was just the 5th of May.
Right.
It was nothing attached to it whatsoever. And when I was in college in New York, Cinco de Mayo was just the 5th of May. There was nothing at all. I don't even recall people getting happy about doing stuff for Cinco de Mayo until like the last 5 or 10 years.
Right.
But
well, I mean, just advertising decided to make it a thing.
Well, advertising makes lots of things a thing, such as Mother's Day and Father's Day and Valentine's Day.
And even. Arbor Day.
And Arbor Day. You know, a lot of times the card companies say, hey, let us create a holiday. In fact, you know, Father's Day, I noticed down at the YMCA, they proudly display a sign that says, we created Father's Day, which, by the way, folks, is coming up pretty soon.
Mother's Day will be here. It's this Sunday.
No,
and so now, guys, let's just do a little PSA, a Point with Bill Crawford PSA. Go to our website, Talk Radio WZZN, and you will find zone deals, big zone deals. Lots of great places to take mom for Mother's Day. Go ahead and get those. You can double your money. You get $50 worth of stuff for $25. How could you go wrong? Even if mom wants to go play golf, Gunner's Landing is on there. Cherokee Ridge is on there. TalkRadioWZZN.com. Get on the big zone deals, and you can look like the son or daughter that she always wanted.
And folks, you better do that soon. Whatever you're going to do for Mother's Day, even if you don't do the zone deals, you better do it soon because it's going to be here before you know it.
And you know, Mama's going to want you to have a haircut before you go to church, so might as well go ahead and do that now.
Might as well go ahead and do that now.
And go and get the suit to the cleaners. And you know, she's gonna want you to look good at church for Mother's Day, so you need to do that. And the corsage. You need to do the corsage. A red corsage if her mother's still living, a white corsage if she's passed.
And you can also go ahead and brush the dog.
Yeah, go ahead and brush the dog out too.
All right.
Because, you know, Mama's going to want to look good. You don't want dog hair all over at church.
No, she does not. And clean the car, do all that stuff that they like. And with that, that's my little Cinco de Mayo spiel.
Doing dishes won't hurt you.
No, doing dishes, well, I don't like it, but it won't hurt you.
You know, as I get older, I don't mind doing the dishes because the warm water feels really good on my knuckles. Feels good on the arthritis.
I have no problem with a lot of household chores, but unloading the dishwasher is not in my cup of tea. Loading or unloading, and until I got married, I never knew there was a right or a wrong way to do that, but I guess there is.
Well, my wife and I have come, you know, talking about the right and wrong way, and this is our either one of us the first time around, and we've decided, You know what? The towels may be folded wrong, but they're clean. They might still be in the hamper, but they're clean. The dishes may not be stacked right in the dishwasher, but they're clean.
You know, Brian,
the person who does it gets to pick how it's done.
That's another thing. I didn't know there was a right and wrong way to fold towels.
Well, from the first administration, there is a wrong way, but now it doesn't matter.
There you go. Well, since it doesn't matter, let's go ahead and take a break and get out of here. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by Attorney General candidate Pamela Casey. She's got a fascinating story. Back soon.
You're listening to The Point with Bill Crawford on Talk Radio WZZN.
This is Bill Crawford, host of The Point on Talk Radio WZZN. I've recently had a stem cell procedure on my right knee from Dr. Charles Lee of Regenesis. Stem cells are harvested from your body and re-administered back into your body. This approach is painless, quick, and requires no lengthy rehab. My knee feels better already. Regenesis is located at 4025 Pepperwood Circle Southwest, Suite C, Huntsville, Alabama. Call 256-715-8193 or Google their website for more information.
Take it right to the edge with Donato's Pizza. That's right, with Donato's, they don't waste any space. And if you're going to put 100 slices of pepperoni on a pizza, you need to go edge to edge. And that provolone cheese is smoked and aged in Wisconsin. All of Donato's produce comes from right here in the Tennessee Valley as well. And Donato's is more than just pizza. Check out the subs, calzones, and wings as well. 2 locations in the Valley to serve you, in Madison on Madison Boulevard and in Huntsville on the South Parkway. Donato's Pizza.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
The Orthopedic Center. It's in the name. TOC, the premier choice for all your orthopedic needs. With over 40 physicians and 20 centers of excellence, TOC is the name to trust for complete, expert orthopedic care. And that word center, we mean it. With more than a dozen locations across North Alabama and the Tennessee Valley, TOC is in your community whenever you need us. As the state's largest orthopedic practice, TOC is built on trust. Trust we've earned with every patient we serve. You can see that trust on the field, too. As the official sports medicine provider for the Huntsville Havoc, Huntsville City Football Club, Oakwood and Alabama A&M universities, thousands of athletes and coaches count on TOC to keep them in the game. From student athletes to unexpected injuries, our urgent ortho clinics offer prompt, expert care, no appointment necessary. So remember, when it comes to your health and mobility, trust the name that says it all. TOC, helping you live a better life.
When a team sticks together, it shows in the way they work and the way they treat you.
We don't just hire great people, they stay. On average, our managers have been with us over 15 years and company-wide turnover is under 3%.
It's a culture built on integrity and heart.
When you call, you get someone who knows your name, understands your business, and is invested in your success.
And that means service you can count on every time.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? It might be in a call center somewhere, maybe 100 miles away, but my phone rings in my office.
The Lackey Law Firm.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're here. We're the ones who take your call.
And get what you deserve.
You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And this is the most important part. We'll treat you like family because that's exactly what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Your home of the Rocket City Trash Pandas is Talk Radio WZZN.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Talk Radio WZZN, and this is The Point with me, Bill Crawford, and also producer extraordinaire Brian Temple. We're glad you have chosen to spend a little bit of your time today with us, and we hope we will make it worth your while. Our next guest is going to be Miss Pamela Casey. And Pamela, are you there?
I'm here. Good. Happy Tuesday. What day is it? Tuesday? I forget what day it is. I'm on the go so much.
No, it's Tuesday. And let me take a minute to introduce you, Pamela, to our listeners. Okay. And I've got the canned introduction that I could read, but I'm going to steer away from that. And I'm going to tell you, folks, what I have learned by listening to and observing Pamela in the 2 or 3 times I've heard her speak. And that is this Attorney General's race is pretty hotly contested. There's, Pamela's running for it, and she's one of the lead contenders for this. And there's also Miss Catherine Robertson and Jay Mitchell. And the one thing I have been impressed by Pamela's campaign is she is not running on pictures of herself shooting a shotgun or statements about how much Donald Trump likes her more than the others, nor statements about how much she is a better Christian than her other candidates. Rather, she is running a campaign based solely on her record as a district attorney in Blount County. And I think I admire you for that. I think you're running a campaign the way it should be run. And that's my introduction of Pamela. And anything you would like for me to add, or did that cover it okay?
That's it. I have been prosecuting for 20 years, career prosecutor. And, I think that people want somebody that's going to serve them and not feed them buzzwords. And they want to hear somebody's got a record and what they're going to do.
Well, tell us, our listeners, again, I know the story, but tell us how you got involved in law from your early days. And let me digress for a second. Your story about your growing up and how you developed your work ethic to me is very interesting, and it's very revealing as to the character that you have. So tell us a little about your early days and how you worked hard to develop a work ethic and good core values.
Yeah, I grew up in Sneed. Many of you may have heard Sneed Crossroads, 700 people. My parents divorced when I was young. Neither of my parents graduated high school. My mom did go back at some point and get her GED when I was actually in school. But she worked in a sewing plant when I was younger. My daddy worked in the highway department. And, we were poor. We were definitely not middle class at all, or really upper lower class. And one thing that taught me was the power of hard work, and that if you dug deep and you really gave it your all and you worked hard, you could get somewhere in life. And so at 15, I went into the little barbecue restaurant there in Sneed, got a job waiting tables, played 3 sports, was the top academic in my class, and worked literally nights and weekends to help support myself, worked myself way through college, got a full ride to Rhodes, and then got some scholarship money to go out to Seattle. But I've just really learned that if you work hard, the sky's the limit. I ran for DA when I was 28. Some people may not know that. And I challenged the incumbent, the former DA, and ADA, and everybody said I couldn't win, but I think I really won because of my experience. I'd been in the AG's office, and because I worked hard.
Now, what kind of law did you practice before you were running for DA at age 29? Didn't you do a lot of work with bad guys and people who were bad to kids?
I did. And so when I was at the AG's office, came out of law school, went to the Attorney General's office, where I handled death penalty appeals on behalf of the state, people who'd been convicted and sentenced to death row, have intense knowledge of that, and then also did violent crimes, handling murders, capital murders, sex crimes across the state of Alabama on behalf of the Attorney General before I was even 28 years old. So I really knew what I was called to do in life, and that was to fight hard, work for our families and our children in this state, and just feel the call to lead that office so that we can take that experience. I think Alabama deserves an experienced prosecutor. fighting for them in the AG's office, and that's what I bring to this race.
Well, now, didn't I just recently read where you took it sounded to me, I think I heard you mention this at the Republican breakfast recently, where you took one of the most heinous, evil people I have heard described and put that person away for a long time. Tell us a little bit about that case.
Yeah, just recently, a few weeks ago, while I was out, even in the midst of this campaign, I'm trying cases, a man had kidnapped, he had befriended a family in our community and lured the little girl to come out and meet him at 2 o'clock one morning, kidnapped her, and took her to his home. He raped her, abused her, cut a hole in the wall under his stairwell, and placed her in the wall. She testified in court about how she could hear the police. He put a big heater in front of that hole. And so that case was just last month. And so, I would encourage your listeners to look at what the candidates have done during the last 12 months. Just look and see what I've done in the last 12 months just in Blount County. And you'll see that I'm the one with the experience to do that statewide, and that I can campaign and work and do it all at one time. So.
Well, now, how do people find you to look at that stuff? Do they just Google Pamela Casey? Well,
you can go on our Facebook page, Pamela Casey for Alabama Attorney General. You can also look at my personal Facebook page, Pamela Casey. But, I would encourage people to put Pamela Casey, Blount County convictions, and then you would get to see people we've sent away for, thousands of years in child predators, life without. We averaged 47.5 years on our murder cases. So we have really worked hard at making sure we keep this county safe, and my record, I think, speaks for itself.
Well, now, how do you, as the Attorney General, and this is kind of a loaded question. I'm not trying to trap you. It's just there's so much going on with this right now, like particularly with the redistricting cases that have just recently came up in the states in a special session of the legislature. How would you do you have any opinion on those cases, and how would you handle those?
Well, yeah, first of all, let me say litigation is ongoing. It would be improper for me to speak in the media currently about what I might do in the future, but know that I have the experience to handle those cases and to have good conversations with the legislature and with other attorneys in the office that are actually handling those cases to make sure the policy is driven by the values that Alabama holds dear. And it's important that Alabama has a map that represents the people, not what a federal court has pushed upon us. And so that's what we would fight for when I'm your Attorney General.
Well, I think, as I understand it, and by the way, Pamela, I'm not saying this for any reason other than it's true, is that those are kind of difficult cases for the lay people of the state to understand. So let me see if I'm interpreting this correct, and you correct me where I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. As I understand it, Alabama they drew their own districting maps.
Right, they did.
And they were rejected. The court said, nope, you can't do that. They're not right. So we're going to draw maps for you.
Well, they gave them the opportunity to redraw their map.
Okay.
And that's something that when the court came back and said, nope, we gave you the opportunity. And then what they forced upon Alabama was call it a court-drawn map. I think it was an actual 18-year-old, if I remember correctly, that drew that map, or maybe it was a different map. But, the court pushed upon them a map and made Alabama is currently enjoined from being able to change that map until 2030. However, there was a decision that came down just last week in Louisiana. And there's an argument now that, wait a minute, you let Louisiana do that. Why won't you let us? Now, our case is a little different than Louisiana's case, but what Louisiana's case is, it says that you can't use race alone to draw your maps. And Alabama is now going back to the court and saying, well, wait a minute, because the Supreme Court ruled this way in Louisiana, we think you should allow us to go back under our map. And so several things will have to happen before we can actually, the special session is kind of preemptive, so that if the court were to come back and rule in our favor, we can move forward with our old map or even a new map. But we would have to wait till the court given us the go ahead. And this time they have not, unless it's happened within the last few hours.
Now, I don't think anything has flashed over any of my news monitoring services that says anything has happened from the Supreme Court. I don't even think the state legislature. I think it's House Bill or Senate Bill 1. It's a special session, so there's not going to be boatloads of bills down there, but I don't even think that has gone through yet. Well, a little bit about the Attorney General's office, because I think a lot of people know, or they think they know what the Attorney General is. What else does the Attorney General do that you have skills that translate to that job?
Well, yeah, every case in Alabama where there's a conviction, the appeals process is handled by the Attorney General's office. Every trial, every plea, any type of criminal activity where there is a guilty plea and there's any type of sentence is going to be handled through the appeals and AG's office. And so, I'm the only one in this race that's running who's actually tried a criminal jury trial. So I have the ability to lead that appellate division. There's also an opinions division, investigation division, but also a civil division. The AG's office is Alabama's law firm representing Alabama citizens from the criminal side, but also the civil side. So when, like Wes Allen, who's the Secretary of State, was sued in this redistricting case, the AG's office would step in and represent them. So it requires you to have good working relationship with other agencies, which I have. And, having been in office for 20 years, I developed relationships across the state that can carry out those responsibilities.
Well, how large is the Attorney General? Like, I know each county, like you, were a district attorney. Is there a representative of the Attorney General in every big municipality or county, or are they centralized in Montgomery?
They're centralized in Montgomery, and that's one of the initiatives I would like to see changed. I would love to see us have assistant AGs and investigators across the state to be able to help local agencies and municipalities without having to go to Montgomery. And what that would also do would open up the door for us to have a lot of people would enjoy working with the AG's office, or talented, qualified to work with the AG's office, but they don't want to go to Montgomery. And so you may have an attorney in Huntsville that's just a really talented attorney, but would never take a job at the AG's office because they don't want to go to Montgomery. So what I would love to see happen is have some satellite offices across the state: Huntsville, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Auburn, Montgomery, those places, Dothan, so that we could have satellite offices that would be more on the grounds with our agencies, so that they would, when you live in a community, you're invested in it. And that's what we want to see across the state. Well,
now, in this day and age, I know, as an example, during COVID, as a federal employee, work remotely became kind of the flavor of the day. Is that something that you think you could implement in the Attorney General's office for getting local areas involved?
Absolutely. And a lot of times the people who are working in Montgomery are on the road to these places, right? So half their time is spent going to a place where if they already live there, they could go to court, so not necessarily have being remote at home, but have remote offices. There's different agencies that have rooms that are available for us to place employees in there, so they would actually have an office. That office would just be not in Montgomery. And as you said, with the technology as it is today, you can work from almost anywhere. Our office here in Blount County is currently paperless. As long as I have a laptop or my cell phone, I can essentially access any file that I need to, regardless of where I am. And that's the same as the AG's office.
Well, one thing, just a little personal experience of mine from working remotely for the government, is when you were doing Zoom meetings on your computer and you could go from one meeting to the next with the click of a mouse instead of having to round up a bunch of papers and go get on the elevator. It made life so much easier, and you were actually more efficient working like that. Well, what are some other initiatives that you would like to see happen in the Attorney General's office were you to be elected?
Well, we'd like to look at the funding. Currently, a lot of the funding for the AG's office comes from the actual money that they recover from civil cases. I think at some point that's going to become a problem. So we need to work with our legislature to ensure that the AG's office is properly funded from the state general fund, but also not just the AG's office, working with our DAs to ensure that there's a partnership with the AG's office that assists DAs in making sure they're fully funded. So we're only funded about 40% in our offices. We have to make up the difference with other court costs and fees here in the county. So I would love to work with the AG, or make sure the AG's office and the DA's office just across the state are fully funded so that we can we can actually hire appropriate people that protect the people of the state.
Well, I'm going to ask you this, and I know it hasn't happened yet, but it seems like a presumptive favorite for the governor's office is Tommy Tuberville. Do you have any kind of working relationship with him?
So I've met him multiple times on the road, but, look, regardless of who the governor or the lieutenant governor is, it's kind of like the work I've done for 20 years. I have the ability to work with anyone because at the end of the day, we're going to uphold the rule of law and defend the Constitution, regardless of which governor is in office. And I look forward to working with Coach Tuberville or whomever is in the lieutenant governor's office, Secretary of State's office. We've created really good working relationships with all those that are on the campaign trail right now. And I think the people have a great group of people to choose from, and I'm excited about the upcoming administrations.
Well, one thing I did back a long time ago when I did other things for a living, I went to a seminar by a person named Zig Ziglar, and his not the Zig Ziglar you're thinking about. No, this was a motivational speaker. This was not Jim Ziglar down in Mobile. But Zig Ziglar had a seminar called How You Had to Have the Home Field Advantage to Succeed. And what he was talking about was your home life has to be in order if you want to halfway have a chance at being successful professionally. And it sounds to me like you've got a pretty well-grounded home life with your husband, who's a teacher, and 2 children. And tell us a little bit about your home field advantage.
Well, look, I am married to the most amazing man who fully supports me. He actually has been we're being double duty. He's actually covers a few events for me when I'm a double booked. And I think it's always an honor when your spouse can go and talk about you and encourage people to vote for you and sees the hard work that we put in when, it's middle of the night and I'm up taking calls and working to protect people. I have a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old, and, they're on the road with me some as they can, depending on school. And, we are in this together as a family. We are a family that serves. My children only know their mother is a DA. They're 5 and 6, and so they believe we do. We go into the community. We serve the community, and that's how I am raising them, is that we are public servants.
Now, when they say they only know you as a DA, you don't put them on trial at home, do you?
Well, when I ran, I was 28, got sworn in at 29, and I wasn't even married then, so I feel like the Blount County's kind of seen me grow up. But, ever since they've been little, Mom's just a DA, and I finally had to explain to them, that's a job you campaign for. And so now they're learning with this AG's race what it means to be elected. Mommy's elected DA. She's trying to be elected Attorney General. And so they get out, and my 6-year-old, man, he might be a little politician himself. He loves talking to the old ladies and the older ladies and giving out hugs and all kinds of things. And so he's a politician himself. So we're enjoying it. Definitely a good time in life right now.
Well, it sounds like fun, and I can hear and feel the passion in your voice. And with that same level of passion in the remaining time we have left, tell our listeners why they should vote for you, Pamela Case. And do you know your position on the ballot? Are you going to be first, second, third?
I'm first. I tell everybody, if you forget who I am, I'm the first one on the ballot. Look, Alabama has a choice on May 19th. They can choose a politician or they can choose a prosecutor. I am the only candidate in this race that's ever stepped into a courtroom, fought for our families, put a killer or child predator behind bars. And Alabama deserves that experience. Alabama deserves someone who wants to serve. And I have not beholden to special interest or outside dark interest money. I'm here to serve you. My record shows that I have the qualifications. And it would be my absolute honor that if you're looking for the hardest working a fighter in this race, then I would be honored to earn your vote on May 19th.
Well, Pamela, once again, I know you've been on my show a couple of times, and I really do appreciate it. Every time I hear you speak, I become a little more impressed each time. And I wish you success in your efforts and good luck on the campaign trail. And thank you for spending some time with us today. And we will go ahead and let you go back to those young'uns and the campaign trail and your job. And thank you much for joining us today.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week. God bless.
Okay, God bless you too. And Brian, let's go ahead and take a break. That was Pamela Casey, candidate for Attorney General of the great state of Alabama.
You're listening to The Point with Bill Crawford on Talk Radio WZZN.
Take it right to the edge with Donato's Pizza. That's right, with Donato's, they don't waste any space. And if you're going to put 100 slices of pepperoni on a pizza, you need to go edge to edge. And that provolone cheese is smoked and aged in Wisconsin. All of Donato's produce comes from right here in the Tennessee Valley as well. And Donato's is more than just pizza. Check out the subs, calzones, and wings as well. 2 locations in the Valley to serve you, in Madison on Madison Boulevard and in Huntsville on the South Parkway. Donato's Pizza.
Bill Crawford here for the Regenesis Stem Cell Center, the place to go for golfers' elbow pain. Traditional treatments require significant time away from the golf course and often don't work. Dr. Charles Lee can treat golfers' elbow using platelet-rich plasma extracted from the patient's blood and get you back on the golf course after a 2-hour visit. Golfers' elbow can be permanently eliminated for a fixed price of $585. Golf season is here. Enjoy pain-free golf with just one visit to Regenesis.
Before you build, know the ground beneath you. OMI Incorporated has been North Alabama's trusted name in geotechnical engineering for over 30 years. We provide subsurface investigations, environmental consulting, and construction materials testing to keep your project moving forward with confidence. Commercial, industrial, and public projects, OMI has the experience to get it right. OMI Incorporated. Experience below the surface. Visit omi-eng.com. or call 256-837-7664.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Baumhauer's Restaurant, legendary food and legendary fun. Whether you're craving the freshest seafood from Alabama's Gulf Coast, juicy chicken or char-grilled steaks seared to succulent perfection, you're craving Baumhauer's Restaurant. Add to that a sports-themed atmosphere and HD flat screens every place you look. For a sneak peek at the menu, go to baumhauers.com. Legendary food, legendary fun. Baumhauer's Restaurant.
Your Fox 54 update.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 70s. Some of us could see 80 degrees. A passing shower is possible across the area, but I do think the vast majority of us are going to be dry, dropping into the mid 60s as we head into the overnight. Showers and thunderstorms are going to be likely as we head into Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. Some of that activity could be strong or severe. Temperatures climbing into the mid 70s.
Your Fox 54 forecast. Only on Talk Radio WZZN.
Welcome back, everybody. This is The Point with Bill Crawford and producer Brian Temple. We're here with you today on Cinco de Mayo. Hopefully you can have some fun doing whatever it is you do, if anything, to celebrate this little remembrance of a battle in Mexico. that I doubt any American except me and whoever's listening to this now knows what that's for. But that's what it's for. It's for Cinco de Mayo, for a battle in Pueblo in the 1860s. And a couple of items just briefly to cover in the news today. One of the things that's going on right now that's kind of dropped out of the headlines just a little bit, it's at the end of your nightly newscast, and that is the fact that the Strait of Hormuz, which is the biggest problem, the biggest sticking point we're having in negotiations to end the war with Iran, other than their supposed capability to build and launch nuclear weapons, is the Iranian fast boats have been attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, supposedly, 7 ships were destroyed and sunk. The little kind of look like fast boats that have at least one missile on them, and our helicopters are taking them out. And being a former helicopter pilot, I can see how that would almost be like shooting fish in a barrel. So we don't know what's going to happen there, but supposedly our leadership says they're through. They have nothing left to do. Their military is gone and dead, but seems to me like somehow they still got a little fight in them. Every time something happens, they're still launching missiles in these little fast boats. And so that's one thing that's going on in the news right now. And our Secretary of State, Mr. Marco Rubio, is going to meet with Pope Leo on Thursday. And they're going to discuss the Middle East, Cuba, and shared interest in the Western Hemisphere. This is the first time a senior administration official and the Pope have had any sort of discussion since the president criticized Pope Leo last month, not to his face, but online, and said he was weak on crime and terrible on foreign policy. I saw another item in the news that kind of baffled me. You know, there is a lot of stuff going on in Washington, a lot of angst and concern and aggravation about the ballroom that is being added onto the White House. And frankly, I don't really understand the issue with that. It's not being paid for by taxpayer money. It's been paid for by private donations. But there's another thing going on up there that's really a little bit interesting, and that is somebody says the Trump administration is going to start revamping the East Potomac golf course without court approval. And supposedly this started after the Trump administration ended the operator's lease in December, and the course is still open, but somehow the Trump administration is getting involved with that. Now, this is one to our listeners, whether you like or dislike President Trump. I don't get this one. I know he has golf courses as part of his private enterprise, but I just really don't see how the White House needs to get involved in revamping golf courses. But we'll see what happens on that. I will keep an eye on it. I know yesterday was May 4th. May the 4th have been with you, or whatever the case may be. Brian, I did not get to watch Star Wars last night. So
I got faith in you.
I'll get her done. Last night was the next to last episode of American Idol, and my wife and I have too much invested in that not to follow it through. But I did find this little fact out about Star Wars. Last year, take a guess how many million hours people watched in theaters and on TV for Star Wars stuff.
Oh, gosh, I couldn't even begin to guess.
How about 550 million hours?
That sounds about right.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I don't know how many weeks that is, but that is a lot of time. And it was primarily films and then live action shows and also animated projects, which I did not realize there were Star Wars animated projects.
Yeah, most notably this Clone Wars series is animated.
I didn't know about that. So
yeah, it's kind of a bridge between two different series. There's some gaps between some of the movies, and it fills in some of that to build fleshes out some of the relationships in later movies.
So you say animated, like animated cartoons?
Yeah.
Hey, shows where my lack of knowledge on Star Wars
There
is.
is so many facets to this. Once you get in and get hooked, there's plenty for you to do.
Well, that makes me wonder how deep I need to dive.
Well, get a little taste. Start with the first one, see how you feel about it, and go from there.
That's what I will do. Yesterday, we had Miss Kenesha Dees here in studio with us, and she said that one of the things she was going to do next week was yoga, because next week is Yoga Fitness Week. And I didn't realize this, but that is in fact true. May 11th through the 17th is Yoga Week. And there's all kinds of stuff going on at the Orion Amphitheater, the Space and Rocket Center, the Huntsville Museum of Art. And essentially, it's going to be free yoga training for people who want to do that. I have watched people do yoga. I think if I was to try to do some of those maneuvers, I would wind up in traction in about an hour's worth of attempting that stuff.
You know, one of the things in living with a chronic disability, one of the things that was suggested for me as part of my physical therapy was yoga or Tai Chi or something like that. And it's been fascinating, but it would take me a while to get to that level of flexibility to be able to do that.
Well, maybe you want to try what I do, and that's swimming. I swim.
Well, and I've done that too. My physical therapist had the 0G treadmills, which helped a lot to take a lot of the weight off my hips. But swimming is recommended as well.
Hey, swimming will, I'll tell you what swimming will do after you swim laps. I usually do this after the show. It does not make it difficult to go to sleep.
Yeah, I hear that.
All right. Well, hey, that's some new stuff. We're going to go ahead and get out of here and wrap this hour up, and we will be back in a bit.
You're listening to The Point with Bill Crawford on Talk Radio WZZN.
This is Bill Crawford, host of The Point on Talk Radio WZZN. I recently had a stem cell procedure on my right knee from Dr. Charles Lee of Regenesis. Stem cells are harvested from your body and re-administered back into your body. This approach is painless, quick, and requires no lengthy rehab. My knee feels better already. Regenesis is located at 4025 Pepperwood Circle Southwest, Suite C, Huntsville, Alabama. Call 256-715-8193 or Google their website for more information.
Take it right to the edge with Donato's Pizza. That's right, with Donato's, they don't waste any space. And if you're going to put 100 slices of pepperoni on a pizza, you need to go edge to edge. And that provolone cheese is smoked and aged in Wisconsin. All of Donato's produce comes from right here in the Tennessee Valley as well. And Donato's is more than just pizza. Check out the subs, calzones, and wings as well. 2 locations in the Valley to serve you, in Madison on Madison Boulevard and in Huntsville on the South Parkway. Donato's Pizza.
You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loaders from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best. And this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. Thompson Tractor knows how much value you place on your customer satisfaction. It's how you build your business. It's also how we build ours. Since 1957, hardworking folks like you have counted on Thompson to provide the absolute best lineup of equipment in the industry, all backed by a customer service and product support team that time and again have proven to be second to none. It's all about maintaining peak performance. Always has been, always will be. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor, we're here for you.
For over 50 years, our mission, do the right thing and make long-term decisions. We value our customers, and we invest in supporting them.
TLG is consistently adding services to our own technologies to automate and provide the best support possible to you.
We have the strongest guarantees in the industry. You can't just tell people you're going to provide good support. You have to prove it with your actions.
Our good friend Bobby White is now at Lynn Layton Ford. And you know what you never find at Lynn Layton Ford? Some mysterious dock fee that could be $600, $700, or $800. A dock fee is an add-on that some dealers will charge just to do the paperwork on your deal. At Lynn Layton, the price you see advertised is the price you'll pay. That's the Lynn Layton way. Transparency is important in buying these days, and that's what you get at Lynn Layton Ford in Decatur. Lynn Layton offers an extensive new and pre-owned inventory, as well as lease options, finance options, and expert auto service. They are dedicated to providing exceptional customer service and are an integral part of our community. And believe me, it's worth the short ride over to the Beltline in Decatur to see what Lynn Layton Ford has to offer. And what you see on that window sticker is what you will get without the hidden mystery fees. We made the move, and so should you, to Lynn Layton Ford in Decatur. Lynn Layton Ford. Find them on the Beltline.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Your home of the Rocket City Trash Pandas is Talk Radio WZZN.
He's still a soldier. His blood runs red, white, and blue.
Welcome back, everybody. This is The Point with Bill Crawford and producer Brian Temple. I've got some guests who have just arrived, so I'm going to have to bow out for just a minute and join you back after the top of the hour and let Brian close us out. Brian, can you help me out with that?
I think I can do that. Now, coming up, we've got Steve Case and his mom are coming in here. They've got a great story. That's going to be part of our interview for next hour. Tonight, the Rocket City Trash Pandas are playing. They're on the road to Pensacola to play the Blue Wahoos. Game time, first pitch is at 6:05. We'll be on the air 5:50 with Josh Carey and crew. That is the game time for most this week, except for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a day game. First pitch at 11:05. We'll be on the air with 10:50. With Josh Carey and them for the pregame for tomorrow. So, in that spirit, you've got a lot of reasons to stay here. You Talk Radio WZZN. Again, we're coming back with another hour of The Point with Bill Crawford, and we'll be right back.
Software team brings you Bamboo HR. Bamboo streamlines everything from hiring to offboarding and eliminating manual HR tasks.
With Bamboo, our customers have saved time, stay organized, and keep employees happier with a seamless HR experience.
This is unique to Huntsville and Birmingham, and I urge you to ask about it.
Just ask anyone.
Favorite jeans, favorite shirt. I can make a sausage and I'm firing it up. Yeah, everybody knows that's how I get my grill on. You can smell that flavor up and down the road. It's a little taste of heaven, and everybody knows that's how I get my grill on. Kanaka sausage. It's just a little taste of heaven.
HD 97.7.2 WZZN FM Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Talk Radio WZZN.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report. The major averages are higher in afternoon trading, led by tech, with the tech-heavy NASDAQ hitting an all-time intraday high. In the meantime, oil prices are pulling back as investors monitor the latest developments in the Middle East. Most all of the 11 S&P 500 sectors are higher. Tech, the best performer. The Magnificent 7 big-cap tech stocks are mixed, with Amazon and Alphabet hitting all-time highs. And shares of Google parent Alphabet are up 0.5% and on the verge of overtaking NVIDIA as the world's most valuable company as a result of its record stock rally fueled by its artificial intelligence efforts and booming cloud business. And shares of Anheuser-Busch InBev are up nearly 8% after the beer giant reported a turnaround in its beer sales in recent months after a nearly 3-year slump. The company makes Budweiser, Stella Artois, and Corona beer. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you, would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that, with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decision.
This is Talk Radio, WCZN.
1819 News.
The ADP Research Institute has conducted a survey where the Birmingham-Hoover metro area was rated high on the list for college graduates to find a job. The Birmingham-Hoover metro area came in as number 1 for strong hiring and wage growth. That is an increase from number 5 from this same survey that was conducted last year. The research conducted by ADP involves the payroll data of over 400,000 people ages 20 to 29 and spanned from January 2025 to January 2026. It also covered 53 U.S. metro areas where at least 1 million residents are living. Governor Ivey touted the results of this survey, saying that sometimes the best move is no move at all for graduates who are living here in Alabama. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Where I was living was not a great place to live anymore. I began to pray for a place to go, praying for all of these things that a 9-year-old would want. I wanted horses, big house with a bunch of people my age. I wanted parents. I wanted a mom and a dad. Before I even prayed it, the Lord had already answered my prayer with the Big Oak Ranch. Who would that 9-year-old be if she never came to the Big Oak Ranch? I would be trying to fight for survival instead of fighting to break a cycle.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
A trial is underway this week in Coleman County for a former Hanceville police officer. William Shelnut is facing charges of tampering with physical evidence within the Hanceville Police Department. Shelnut is one of several employees within that department now facing charges from the Coleman County District Attorney for promoting a culture of corruption in that department. Huntsville Hospital for Women and Children has a new ambulance for transporting children and infants who are in need of critical care. The specially designed ambulance will provide intensive care for sick children as they're being moved to a hospital. The ambulance will be launched for service sometime this week. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This is Talk Radio, WCZN.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? It might be in a call center somewhere, maybe 100 miles away, but my phone rings in my office.
The Lackey Law Firm.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're here. We're the ones who take your call.
And get what you deserve.
You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And this is the most important part. We'll treat you like family because that's exactly what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
When a team sticks together, it shows in the way they work and the way they treat you.
We don't just hire great people, they stay. On average, our managers have been with us over 15 years, and company-wide turnover is under 3%.
It's a culture built on integrity and heart.
When you call, you get someone who knows your name, understands your business, and is invested in your success.
And that means service you can count on every time.
Your Fox 54 update.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. We drop into the mid-60s as we head into the overnight early Wednesday morning. Showers and thunderstorms are likely as we head into Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. Some of those storms could be strong, marginally severe. Gusty winds going to be the biggest concern. Temperatures climb into the mid-70s.
Your Fox 54 forecast. Only on Talk Radio WZZN. This is The Point with Bill Crawford on Talk Radio WZZN. A compassionate, conservative, reasoned voice. Not just for today's headlines, but for issues that matter to you. Perspective from a distinguished career of service in the U.S. Army. Courage from hours in the pilot seat of a military helicopter in war and in peace. Knowledge of cultures from around the world. Experience from a lifetime of service to America. What matters to you, from the dinner table to the halls of power. Conservative, compassionate, reason. That's The Point.
Welcome, everybody. This is Bill Crawford, and this is The Point with Bill Crawford. And we are glad that you have taken some time to join us today here on Talk Radio WZZN. And if you want to give us a call, we've got some guests that you really might want to chat with today at 256-382-0724.
You got a full house there, Bill.
Yeah, we got a full house. We've never, first time we've ever had two guests in studio. And I got to tell y'all something, I lied to you already because I said I was going to do a little political monologue on something, but I decided to do that another day. I want to have as much time as possible to speak with you two guys, and I will introduce them, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about them. We have Miss Jennifer Case.
Hello.
And Jennifer Case is a friend of mine. I've known her for quite some time, and also know her husband very well, Steve Case, General Steve Case. He's at the Pentagon today doing whatever, like they say in The Wizard of Oz, whatever wizards do, whatever generals do, he's up there doing it. And also we have with him his son, also Steve Case. Stephen, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am doing great. Let me tell you a little bit about how this came to be. Again, I said I have known the Cases for quite some time. I worked with Steve out on the Arsenal for years and years and years, and then he went into a different area of work, but I've still met him and Jennifer and young son at all the West Point activities. But what happens is when you graduate from West Point, many years after your graduation, in my case, 50 years, they allow you to be a mentor to a cadet that's coming in. And Stephen is coming into the class of 2030, and therefore I opted to be his mentor. So that's how this came to be. But Jennifer, you have a bit of a West Point background, don't you?
I do. I have a little bit of a West Point background. Shall I share it?
Share it, yeah. We're not going to get, and nobody's going to run us out of here.
Okay, so a brief history. I graduated from high school. I'll age myself in 1995. I attended a year of college where I actually had an Air Force ROTC scholarship. But I went to Purdue. It was big. I didn't like it. I wasn't happy. And so I ended up leaving Purdue and wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with myself. And so being smart enough not to waste my parents' money, I enlisted in the Army. And so I enlisted in the Army in August 1996, and I went to basic training and was studying, and then went on to Monterey, California to study to be an Arabic linguist. And
how far did that go?
I ended up wrapping up and later on everything, but I used to be fluent in Arabic, but I am no longer. If you don't use it, you lose it. So especially a language like Arabic. But when I was briefly at DLI, when I first got there, a West Point recruiter came, and I always joke and say I made the mistake of telling my company commander, and I was just an E2, that I had applied to West Point in high school, and he's like, "Oh, you have to apply again." So I did, and then I found out, I can't remember exactly, it must have been early spring of 1997, I found out that I had gotten an appointment to go to West Point. There were several of us who applied. Everybody else went to the prep school. I went directly to West Point. I went through Beast Barracks again, which I told my husband it was easier than basic. He says it's just because I had done it before. So he's probably right. But that being said, I ended up being at West Point for summer 97 and part of the fall semester. But I just was frustrated. I will say I felt probably young, prideful, and stupid at the time. I was not as bright as my son. And so, but it wasn't for me. I was not, I did great academically and physically, but not academically, militarily and physically, but the academics kicked my butt. And I think I was too prideful to ask for help.
Well, there's no shame in that story. I mean, that's something that not everybody is for that place. Yeah. Even after you get there, sometimes you may say, "Hey, this is just not my cup of tea." So how did you and husband Steve meet up?
We actually met working in Tallahassee, Florida. My old boss introduced us.
Was Steve in the Army then?
No, he was still in the reserves. So yes, he's as long as we've been married, he's always been in the reserves. And so he had gotten out of active duty, and we met in Tallahassee, and then ended up eventually working together and getting married and having Stephen and his sister. And shortly after we got married and were pregnant, we ended up moving up here to the Huntsville area, and we've been here for over 19 years.
And so did y'all move up here because of a federal government or a contractor job?
Originally for a contractor job, right. Yes. Yep.
And that's where I got to know Steve. He and I would go down to Fort Rucker, which young Stephen has got his Army aviation shirt on. Steve and I would go down. Actually, we traveled down there together a couple of times to do wild and crazy things in the world of Army aviation. So then, Stephen, we're going to get to you in a minute because I really want to focus on your story. So,
yes, sir.
So now, Stephen, the dad, I'm going to say dad is Steve, son is Stephen.
That's what we do. It makes it way easier.
That does make it way easier. So Steve is now a general, and what is his main role? What does he?
He is the 95th Training Division Commander, which is based out of Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Oh, God, what a lovely place. Does he have to go out there often?
He was just out there this past weekend. So, yes, he is out there fairly often. So,
well, I have spent a lot of time at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and I can tell you this about that wonderful city of Lawton, Oklahoma. You ever been out there, Stephen?
No, sir.
Well, when I went out there the last time, which was a couple of years ago, and it was the same way when I was there as a lieutenant, the height of entertainment in Lawton, Oklahoma is they have a prairie dog village, and I asked the hotel people I was staying at, I said, what's a good place to go eat around here? And they said, oh, we love the Golden Corral. And I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm out here in the land of the Prairie Dog Village and the Golden Corral. This is not where I want to be. And then I went out in sub-zero weather to test lasers and shoot down drones and all that stuff. So does Steve spend a lot of time out there still?
He spends a fair amount of time. Yes, he does. But he also visits since he's a reserve commander, he has units in multiple different states, and then his higher headquarters is being transformed, so he goes to Fort Lee some, and he's kind of all over the place. So,
and he's also just like me in that in a few short weeks we will be fully retired from the federal government.
Yes.
So looking forward to that. So Brian, let's go ahead and take a break, and Stephen, go ahead and take a deep breath. You're up next.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be back in a bit. This is The Point with Bill Crawford.
You're listening to The Point with Bill Crawford on Talk Radio WZZN.
Take it right to the edge with Donato's Pizza. That's right, with Donato's, they don't waste any space. And if you're going to put 100 slices of pepperoni on a pizza, you need to go edge to edge. And that provolone cheese is smoked and aged in Wisconsin. All of Donato's produce comes from right here in the Tennessee Valley as well. And Donato's is more than just pizza. Check out the subs, calzones, and wings as well. 2 locations in the Valley to serve you, in Madison on Madison Boulevard and in Huntsville on the South Parkway. Donato's Pizza.
Bill Crawford here for the Regenesis Stem Cell Center, the place to go for golfers' elbow pain. Traditional treatments require significant time away from the golf course and often don't work. Dr. Charles Lee can treat golfers' elbow using platelet-rich plasma extracted from the patient's blood and get you back on the golf course after a 2-hour visit. Golfers' elbow can be permanently eliminated for a fixed price of $585. Golf season is here. Enjoy pain-free golf with just one visit to Regenesis.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
This summer, we make HVAC history as Sensagreen Heating, Cooling, and Insulation celebrates our country's 250th birthday. Happy birthday, America! In honor of crossing the Delaware River and kicking Cornwallis out of Yorktown, Sensagreen now offers $1,776 off new HVAC systems. Give me liberty and a new HVAC smart system this summer at Sensagreen with Bryant. Whatever it takes, just like our founding fathers. USA! USA! USA!
Alabama license number 12705/52808.
AL cert number 21014.
Welcome into the hottest and coolest game show around called The Freeze. Today's contestant, Bob. Bob, can you tell me the heating and air business that provides free service with repair?
Is it Talent Heating and Air Conditioning?
Can you tell me which heating and air business provides free second opinions?
Talent Heating and Air Conditioning.
You are our grand prize winner. You have won a visit from the #1 heating and air business in the Tennessee Valley.
Talent Heating and Air Conditioning?
That's right. Talent Heating and Air is coming to you.
This is Thomas with Talent Heating and Air Conditioning, and you don't have to win a game show to use us. We have free second opinions year-round, and this summer we're doing free service calls with a repair. So just remember, call Talent Heating and Air Conditioning at 256-503-4490 or visit us on our website at talenthvac.com.
WASP Asset Software, delivered by our Next Level software team, helps you track every asset with ease, giving you total visibility over your tools, equipment, and IT assets from everywhere.
With WASP, our customers have reduced loss, improved accountability, and saved hours of tracking down what they own and where it is.
This is proven technology, and I urge you to ask about it.
Baumhauer's Restaurant, legendary food and legendary fun. Whether you're craving the freshest seafood from Alabama's Gulf Coast, juicy chicken or char-grilled steaks seared to suck into perfection, you're craving Baumhauer's Restaurant. Add to that a sports-themed atmosphere and HD flat screens every place you look. For a sneak peek at the menu, go to baumhauers.com. Legendary food, legendary fun. Baumhauer's Restaurant.
Your home of the Rocket City Trash Pandas is Talk Radio WZZN.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Talk Radio WZZN, and this is The Point with Bill Crawford, along with producer extraordinaire Brian Temple. And now we have the star of our show. The reason we're here today is Mr. Stephen Case. Stephen, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
I couldn't be better. Let me take just a moment to properly introduce Stephen. Stephen is graduating from Classical Conversations in Huntsville, Alabama, after 12 years in the program, and we're going to get into that a little more detailed later. He is a dedicated student who wants academic excellence and intellectual growth. Not a lot of people in high school can say that. He's also an Eagle Scout, which is very important, a member of the Order of the Arrow, and Assistant Scoutmaster for Troop 343, which is a very well-known troop here in Huntsville, Alabama. He is also a 2025 Alabama Boys State Representative and has medaled in several rowing competitions. They do have rowing here in Huntsville across various states, and is the team captain of the men's varsity Huntsville Madison County Rowing and Water Sports Club. He also leads, and this proves he's smart, he leads the Team Policy Debate Club under Milestone Speech and Debate as the team captain. And he is placed nationally in several debate tournaments. You may be doing that at West Point. He also is interested in aviation engineering history, genealogy, and is learning Latin, Greek, and Hebrew to facilitate deeper biblical studies. He likes activities such as flying, snow skiing, rock climbing, and scuba diving. And here's what we're here to talk about, because he will be attending the U.S. Military Academy entering this summer with the class of 2030, and eventually one day will be a second lieutenant in the United States Army. Stephen, did I leave anything out?
No, sir.
Okay, well, you don't have to put a sir on that right now. You can just say no, or you can say no, Bill. That's okay. And Stephen, let me ask you this. I think one of the things that I really, and by the way, one thing I did want to mention to folks is, again, I'm a graduate from the class of 1980, and my 50-year legacy class is Stephen's class. And so there's quite a few from Huntsville who are going in, and some of us members of the class of 80 are serving as their mentors. So one of the things I wanted to have you share with our listeners is, I think it's interesting that when you say Classical Conversations, and Jennifer chime in on this also, that means you were homeschooled, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell a lot of people hear homeschooled, they don't even know what that means, other than, well, he's doing his schooling at home. Tell us a little bit, both of you, about how that works. Start with you, Stephen.
Okay. Well,
you're the one who did it, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, you went through it and you did it, right?
Yes.
Okay,
I was very involved when they were little, and then they took off.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of my friends think of homeschooling as like, I wake up 9 o'clock in the day, get a couple of things of school done around the house, and then crash whatever I want to do. But really, it is a full school day, just like anyone else. I don't necessarily share the same curriculum a public schooler would, but that's what Classical Conversations is. That is a previously made 25-year experimented curriculum that is used internationally, especially in military communities, just because it's so fixed around the world. And everything from STEM to really all areas of school are encompassed in it. And I do it at home. I do it at my desk 2 feet away from my bed. But it is a full school day with a rigid schedule that I have to accomplish just like any public school student.
Now, is this all, I assume most of it is online, but are you online just yourself, like going through classes and answering questions, or do you have actual video or in-person instructors?
So depending on what part of the curriculum I'm using, it actually goes between a lot of, for instance, my math, my calculus is all on paper. I do sometimes utilize previously recorded videos that are like from the 90s, really, really poor quality videos, but most of it, everything is written for math, all paper. I watch recorded physics lectures for my physics courses, and I take 2 dual enrollment classes with Southeastern University in Florida that are fully online. But about 50% of what I do is still written through textbooks.
So it's not just in front of a computer. You're actually in front of a textbook, taking tests, writing in a notebook. How do you get your work graded?
My mom.
Well, Well, I've had some help the past couple of years being in high school with the dual enrollment class. So he's done history dual enrollment and English composition dual enrollment. So what the professor gives, that's his grade. I'm not going to change from that. Proud to say he is a straight A student in those areas, in all areas. And this year is the first year we really outsourced math because Classical Conversations is a great, awesome curriculum. They just kind of backed off of how they did physics. And we knew with him pursuing West Point that he needed a really strong physics curriculum. And so we went to a group called Apologia, and he does an online live class and does labs and lectures, and they grade and everything. So I don't even have to, I have a notebook check I have to do quarterly for him for physics, but I still grade his calculus, his Latin, all those type things. And, but as he's grown, the goal is that with homeschooling is that you are very, very, very involved in those young years, and classical education heavily depends on memorization. So they memorized a ton of information. Stephen knew the entire Declaration of Independence by 12 years old. I was a poli-sci major, so I can't help it. His sister was 9. And so, but heavy memorization. And then, but as the high school years came in where there's reading and more things and that lots of discussion, that my job as the parent became really more of a grader than a teacher, because the goal is that they learned how to really instruct themselves. There's still lectures and things like that, but they learned how to self-teach.
So as you're going through this, you're obviously able to track your progress as if you were in a regular school system.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that is really cool. So I'm going to ask you a question, though, because I was a Latin person, too. And actually, you're going to be glad you took that one day, because it's the basis of so many languages. And I ended up being the #1 ranked cadet in Portuguese. So
really?
That's awesome.
I went to the Brazilian Military Academy. Eu posso falar português como se fosse brasileiro. So can you conjugate the verb to be in Latin?
Not in the moment, not off the top of my head.
You should know that.
I probably could if you gave me a moment to sit down and think.
That comes from freshman year in high school over 60 years ago. So,
wow.
So as you were going through this and you said, hey, West Point is my goal, one of the things you have to succeed at in West Point is you have to have good interpersonal skills. So how did you develop those? I know you were in a lot of activities, so did you consciously say, I've got to do something other than these classes in my bedroom? Or, Mom, how did you help with that?
Absolutely. We knew, because that's always the stereotype, is homeschool kids aren't socialized. And I think it has a lot to do with depending on the parents. I think a lot of kids who aren't very socialized probably come from parents who aren't very socialized. My husband and I happen to be very social creatures. We call each other the closers whenever we go somewhere. We're always the last to leave. So for early on, they came places with us. I was involved kind of in some politics stuff when the kids were younger, and they would come to events with us. They would, we would make them speak with adults, look them in the eye, shake their hands, and learn that from a very early age, which paid off, because now they're not fearful to ever speak to. I always say Stephen and his sister Sydney, they never meet a stranger. They can be anywhere.
Well, Stephen, let me hear your take on that. I know you had Boy Scouts, rowing, debate. Tell us when you started saying, okay, I'm just not going to be here in the bedroom. I'm going to become an active person in many, many things.
Yeah, well, so growing up, I was, as far as I hear, I don't necessarily remember this, but apparently I was pretty shy when I was younger. I'd always hide. I would never talk to anyone. I'm not really sure when that changed, because now I think of myself as a major extrovert. I'm like my parents. I'm always closing an event. I'm always talking to people. A lot of times I'm out alone just talking to whoever at whatever event. But probably around when I was maybe about 11 or 12 years old when I did join Boy Scouts. Before then, I was I had my little league sports like soccer and baseball and flag football, but those were really the only extracurriculars I was involved in at all outside of homeschooling and our weekly class participation for our co-op. So, but yeah, when my dad was on a trip, my grandpa took me to Troop 343's Boy Scout meeting. And at that point, I really fell in love with the troop. I clicked with all the kids, and I got to involve myself with other kids my age outside of the 6 other people in my homeschool class from all different backgrounds, from all different areas of the community. And that was really my first experience, and I really thrived there. Continued to reach out, not necessarily on my own at that point, just because I was so young. But yeah, that's probably where it started.
Well, now, one of the things that I know, because I did it and I worked with admissions for years and years and years, is West Point is big on what they call the well-rounded total man, total person concept. So how did, as you were going into that process and starting to go through that journey, what kind of questions and interactions did you have with the admission staff about the fact that you weren't in a high school, but you were at home? Did that pose any difficulties that obviously you overcame if it did, but how did that little process work?
So before I had actually engaged in the admissions process, I had heard that it would be a lot more difficult for me as a homeschooler to apply to West Point because I was restricted from public school activities and clubs, at least without taking one of their classes. And so I had always had this perception that it would actually be more difficult for me. I knew I wasn't restrained and socially, like when it came to my social skills, but as far as extracurriculars came. But then when I actually went into the process and started engaging with the field force officers and representatives and the application itself, I figured out that West Point was very user-friendly to homeschoolers. I cannot say that about the other military academies, other service academies. Air Force was actually amazingly difficult. It is hard to get into the Air Force Academy as a homeschool student. Thing. Yeah. But West Point, they, the West Cadet Honor Code, a cadet will not lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do. I think they really have that applied to all of their incoming candidates as well. They expect that out of the candidates. So they do not question anything you write down as a homeschool participant student. Anything I said I did. They did not question my curriculum, my grades. They asked for a transcript, but they do not question what I said I did at all. And I think that's really important because the Air Force Academy, Naval Academy did. They did not believe a lot of the things I did for homeschool. Air Force Academy wouldn't even accept my mother's own testimony to my schoolwork because she was my mom. But West Point did. They believed me because I said it. And so it really, the process as a homeschool student was not difficult, I found.
Well, that's comforting to hear that. So tell us a little bit about some of your other activities. By the way, I can tell you this, as being a field force admissions guy for almost 20 years, one of the most important things, and this, if you have listeners out there who are having a child that's thinking about this, Eagle Scout is a big deal. It's one of the most important things. So tell us a little bit about your debate activities. By the way, I have to precurse this with the statement that my roommate at West Point was the president of the debate team.
Really?
And was the smartest person I ever met in my life. And I don't know how he did that. So have you been debating all of your high school years?
Since sophomore year, at least. One of my close friends that I actually met through Classical Conversations, our deal was he does a year of rowing with me, and I will do a year of debate with him in return. He ended up quitting after 1 year of rowing, but I ended up staying with debate and stayed with it for the past 3 years to become team captain. And so since sophomore year, I've been competitively debating. Only in sophomore year did I actually reach out and travel and go to other states with my friend, but I've been very active in the team since then.
Well, did that factor into your evaluation, you think, as a debater?
Yes, sir.
I mean, did they say, "Hey, great, West Point has one of the best debate programs in the United States." Did they say, "Hey, we can't wait to get our hands on you when you come up here"?
Not that I heard of, but I know that my experience really, really helped me in all areas of the application, especially when it came to the interview. When I say team captain of Milestone Speech and Debate, I'm not team captain of our speech team, but I do participate in speech club. And those impromptu interviews that I have with my coach and impromptu speeches, as well as the impromptu actual debates, really came in handy when applying to West Point and for other scholarships.
Well, now, one of the things that, and if you're out there and you got a offspring that wants to get into the academy or the Air Force or any of the service academies, one thing that they do want to see is some sort of athletic ability. And it seems to me like yours is it still called crew or is it called rowing?
Interchangeable. A lot of people go between. We usually call our individual teammates in a boat a crew, and then call it rowing as general, but it's often swapped.
Well, now, are you a row? I don't even know what you call. Are you the rower, or are you the guy that sits at the end and says
the coxswain?
The coxswain, yes.
Yes, sir. No, I'm a rower. I am a bow seat in pretty much all boats we row. I'm the lightest on my team by about 40 pounds to the next lightest. And so the only place in the boat for me is bow seat, so the boat can actually lift off the water a little bit instead of having the bow plunge down.
Now, not being a Naval Academy guy, the bow is the front or the back?
The front of the boat. Sorry about that.
The bow and the stern. Hey, man, you got a helicopter pilot. I don't know anything about boats. So, again, I do believe, and a lot of people wouldn't think this, but they have a first-class crew team at West Point.
Yes, sir.
Are you interested in pursuing that when you get up there?
Yes, sir. Highly interested. I love rowing. I've been rowing for 5 years, and I really don't have any intentions of stopping when I get to West Point. It is a club team, but it is still very highly competitive. And I have heard from other cadets on the rowing team, in order to make it through their initial processing, you really have to love the sport, because it is not for the faint of heart. They kick kids out decently enough that just don't care for it enough.
Well, I know most people, myself included, we certainly know what's involved in football practice and basketball practice and baseball practice. And I know you got to do that this afternoon, but what is involved in rowing practice here in Huntsville, Alabama?
Yeah, so here we practice at Ditto Landing, right near the marina. We have a chain link enclosure, so no fancy boathouse, but it works and it facilitates our national level cruise. So, but yeah, what we do when we get to practice later today even, we will take our boats out of racks, set them up in slings just outside of the enclosure, make sure our foot stretchers and our rolling seats and our riggers and oars are all set and ready to go before we then take it down to the dock and practice race pieces, everything from the initial start to the end of the race, individual drills. We'll be on the water for about an hour to an hour and a half every afternoon, with the exception of Wednesdays, and then Saturday mornings we'll practice. And then we'll come in and reverse process until we leave.
Well, now, do you do your rowing competition here in the Tennessee River, or do you go all over the place?
Years ago, we did against another youth crew, Rocket City. Since then, we haven't had any scrimmages against them. But most of our rowing competitions are throughout the Southeast. A lot of them are in Tennessee that my club participates in, at least. And actually, this weekend, we're taking most of our club down to Southeast Youth Regionals in Sarasota, Florida, hopefully to qualify some boats for nationals again.
Wow. So how is the farthest you have advanced in a rowing competition?
So I've won some events depending on around the nation, but as far as official youth rowing, like regionals, nationals, I raced a single about 2 years ago at regionals in Sarasota, and I don't actually remember my placement.
I don't remember either.
But I was
the
the smallest guy out on the water in my single at the regional level. And I did not get to go to grand finals, but I placed decently in semifinals. And again, I've won other races around the Southeast, but not at the regional level.
Any other sports you participated in that made it to your application?
No, sir. Rowing is a full-time sport. We practice fall, winter, spring, summer, and race during spring and fall. So I am there 5 days a week, every week.
Now, when you say winter, do you guys get out on the Tennessee River in the cold weather and row those boats around?
Unfortunately not. We all wish we did. No matter the temperature, I'm sure if you asked any of my teammates, we would much rather be on the water than in the gym. But during winter, we are winter conditioning on the rowing machines and with weights, which we don't mind the weights, but the rowing machines, we hate those.
Well, they are not the easiest things in the world to do. So, folks, we're going to go ahead and Brian, we'll take a break now, and we're going to come back and continue our conversation with Stephen Case and his mom, Jennifer, for a few more minutes to talk a little bit more about the journey you're about to embark upon. That's Stephen Case, class of 2030.
You're listening to The Point with Bill Crawford on Talk Radio WZZN.
This is Bill Crawford, host of The Point on Talk Radio WZZN. I've recently had a stem cell procedure on my right knee from Dr. Charles Lee of Regenesis. Stem cells are harvested from your body and re-administered back into your body. This approach is painless, quick, and requires no lengthy rehab. My knee feels better already. Regenesis is located at 4025 Pepperwood Circle Southwest, Suite C, Huntsville, Alabama. Call 256-715-8193 or Google their website for more information.
Take it right to the edge with Donato's Pizza. That's right, with Donato's, they don't waste any space. And if you're going to put 100 slices of pepperoni on a pizza, you need to go edge to edge. And that provolone cheese is smoked and aged in Wisconsin. All of Donato's produce comes from right here in the Tennessee Valley as well. And Donato's is more than just pizza. Check out the subs, calzones, and wings as well. 2 locations in the Valley to serve you, in Madison on Madison Boulevard and in Huntsville on the South Parkway. Donato's Pizza.
You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loaders from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best. And this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. Thompson Tractor knows how much value you place on your customer satisfaction. It's how you build your business. It's also how we build ours. Since 1957, hardworking folks like you have counted on Thompson to provide the absolute best lineup of equipment in the industry, all backed by a customer service and product support team that time and again have proven to be second to none. It's all about maintaining peak performance. Always has been, always will be. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor, we're here for you.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
The Orthopedic Center. It's in the name. TOC, the premier choice for all your orthopedic needs. With over 40 physicians and 20 centers of excellence, TOC is the name to trust for complete, expert orthopedic care. And that word center, we mean it. With more than a dozen locations across North Alabama and the Tennessee Valley, TOC is in your community whenever you need us. As the state's largest orthopedic practice, TOC is built on trust. Trust we've earned with every patient we serve. You can see that trust on the field, too. As the official sports medicine provider for the Huntsville Havoc, Huntsville City Football Club, Oakwood and Alabama A&M universities, thousands of athletes and coaches count on TOC to keep them in the game. From student athletes to unexpected injuries, our urgent ortho clinics offer prompt, expert care, no appointment necessary. So remember, when it comes to your health and mobility, trust the name that says it all. TOC, helping you live a better life.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Your Fox 54 update.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. We drop into the mid-60s as we head into the overnight early Wednesday morning. Showers and thunderstorms are likely as we head into Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. Some of those storms could be strong, marginally severe. Gusty winds going to be the biggest concern. Temperatures climb into the mid-70s.
Your Fox 54 forecast. Only on Talk Radio WZZN.
Welcome back, everybody. Glad you're with us here on The Point with Bill Crawford on Talk Radio WZZN. And what we're going to do here in just a minute is we're going to do a little radio magic. I know sometimes you see like last night on the news, there was a thing where a person his dad came home from war and surprised this little kid. Well, guess what? On the line with us now is General Steve Case, Stephen's father. Sir, are you there?
I am. This is Steve from Huntsville, Alabama. Crawdad, I just want to tell you I love your show, and I'm a first-time caller.
Well, you got to say first time, long time. Well, we're here with your son, Stephen, exploring his journey to West Point. And tell us a little bit about how you helped him. Well, first of all, do you want to say something to Stephen? He's sitting right here listening.
Oh, yeah. Son, you're doing a great job. Very impressive. With the exception of your ability to conjugate to be in Latin, and for that you need to start pushing.
Yeah, I've been translating the Aeneid recently, so I need to go back to the basics.
Yes, you do. No, in all sincerity, both my wife and my son, they're fantastic teammates and Americans, and I love them both and represent us well. But you asked me a question, Bill. I'd love to answer it. So I didn't remember much of this, but apparently my son did. So one day when I came back from wherever I had been, the house was empty. Jennifer and Stephen's sister, Sydney, they were out of the house. Stephen was alone, but he had put something up on the refrigerator. And this was, about 9 months ago, I suppose. If that long. But anyhow, I looked up at the fridge, and there was a scrap piece of paper with red ink on it, and a letter, a memorandum from with letterhead on it from Department of Defense up on their fridge. It was the scrap piece of paper Stephen had found where I had sat him down to draw out a timeline on what it would take to get into West Point. And I remember now the conversation was, son, you're behind the power curve. You got a long way to go. Look at all the things you have to do to accomplish in such a short time. Bill, he was 11 years old. So I sketched it out from 11 to 18, all the things that he needed to get done. And if he didn't start hustling, he just wouldn't be competitive. But he did hustle, and under that scrap piece of paper was his letter of acceptance, or assurance.
Letter of assurance,
from the letter of assurance from the superintendent, stating that if Stephen maintained the course and continued the grades, that he would get an appointment to West Point. So it was his, see, Dad, I remembered, and I did it. And it was a very proud moment for me. I didn't need to put that kind of pressure on my 11-year-old son, but apparently it stuck. So he's been performing and has excellent potential.
Well, let me ask you both a question. By the way, this is a question I often have been asked, as my son, too, found his path to West Point. By the way, Steve, he's stationed here now, so you're going to have to meet him during football season. And
fantastic.
My question is this: was it more of a push from you for West Point, or for a pull from Stephen to want it? Both of you can respond to that.
Yeah, I think that he wanted what he saw, which is, I think, in military families, their parents sacrificing for the nation, and it either draws them or repels them. And there's many ways we can serve. The military is just one of them, but it's a hard life. It's a hard way to serve. There's a lot of family sacrifice. But what Stephen saw, he obviously wanted to be a part of. Also, Bill, I think you and the others in the West Point Society there in Huntsville were also instrumental in all that, because he saw the heritage and the homage we paid to our alma mater and those who have served before us. And there was a time it was at the end of the Army-Navy game. Surely Army won, but we were there at Valley Hill, and my son came in late, but he showed up to it as a teenager. I think he was coming home from a debate tournament or something. He was in a suit.
Yes.
And
That's right.
I looked over, and we were singing the alma mater, and Stephen was at perfect upright attention, perfect as we teach our cadets how to stand at attention, singing the alma mater. To which I went over and whispered to him afterwards. I said, "You're not a grad," but he I think from what I've observed, and so you can put your own add to this if I'm wrong, but I think he was drawn to this. I did not push it on him, although I don't think I did.
No, that's exactly right. I remember, I want to say 5, and this is the same thing I said in my West Point interview as well. But we were marching around in circles around the living room. You were teaching me how to march. You were wearing your tar bucket, which has since unfortunately fallen apart, but it was in pretty good condition at that point. And I was wearing a single service patch, just like a patch that goes on your shoulders, on my head, pretending it was a tar bucket like my dad's, following him in circles, marching around. And I remember at that point, that's when I knew that I wanted to be a West Point cadet. I didn't know what it was remotely. I saw what a cadet looked like. I saw my dad and like you, other members, other graduates of the academy. And I knew that I wanted that. I just had no idea what it encompassed because I was like 5. But it was at that point, a little bit later where because I didn't really know what it encompassed, it was because of my dad that kind of gave me the push, to that little note I found from when I was 11 years old. Like, this is what you're going to have to do to get in. That was from him because I didn't know. I was still a child, but the drive to go was from me.
Well, when did you first see the academy?
Let's see. Football season of 2024.
Yeah.
So I had never been there, but I have a poster that sitting on my wall, pinned in front of my desk. So it's the first thing I see when I look up from whatever I'm doing at my desk, of the long gray line of all the cadets at attention on a parade in front of MacArthur Barracks, I believe.
In Washington Hall.
Yeah, in Washington Hall. And it was the same poster that my dad had pinned above his desk, the exact same poster when he was applying to West Point. And so I knew that is really, other than the internet, that's the perception I had. But I had never even been there until 2024 for football season.
Well, that's a great time to go. So General Case, who I've known you for quite some time, we worked together on a lot of stuff. As we get ready to wrap it up here, give our audience, our listeners, some words of wisdom if they have an offspring or a child who wants to enroll in the service academy like your young son, Stephen, has done.
I was going to make a wisecrack. Like we yell a lot at the house and get them ready for big year. But it's not entirely true. But I just met or I just bumped into for the first time since we were in the barracks together, another West Point graduate he's got young kids who his name is John Furco, and we were company mates, but he was telling me a story about something happened recently for his kid, where his daughter was at a volleyball tournament he took his kids up to West Point, and she was watching the volleyball tournament. She's big into volleyball, and saw the coach and bumped into some of his classmates like General Heidi Hoyle, and she was enthralled with the fact that she was a 3-star general. And then John's 10-year-old boy looked over and saw Coach Munkin, and he was they were all very impressed that the football coach was there supporting ladies volleyball. Just the leadership and the setting of the example that happened as a normal occurrence at West Point. But then later, and I forgot who it was, but took a pair of cleats signed by the coach and gave it to John's son. And I think the boy's probably hooked now. And I think it's a little seed that we are able to plant early that, seeds of inspiration. For me, my dad found a little cow pen at the airport, a cow crest, the blue one that has a Athena helmet on it.
Right.
And for me, when I learned what it was, it felt like it was a calling. So I think it's just a little seed of inspiration when they're young, and then just explaining to them, what a special place it is, and then getting them up to maybe a football game or up to the academy to see just the majesty of the place. It is really magical.
I think that's very well spoken, and we've got a little bit of time left. So, Mom Jennifer, give us a few closing comments, and then we'll close it out with Stephen.
I guess our time as a homeschool mom, I knew he wanted this. I knew he wanted to pursue it, and I think it did help that I had went there briefly, and Steve was a grad, but there was a lot of pressure too, because I felt like I was a very strict, rigid homeschool mom. There was some yelling. There were tears through math over the years, but that's okay. But I think all the sacrifice and the weight of what we did paid off, because I knew his goal was very lofty. It's, and going to college is difficult, but trying to get into West Point is no joke. And so as a homeschooler, I knew there was that pressure. And so we held him to very high, rigorous standards, and we prayed a lot, and thankfully it all worked out.
Well, Stephen, the last word is yours. Tell our listeners what you think you're going to accomplish as you set out on this journey.
Well, real fast, I would like to say to anyone who hears this, who is planning on applying to West Point, I wish I had known this a little bit more in advance than I did. If you plan on applying, one of the most important things you do, actually just in general, is your ACT, SAT standardized test scores. That was one of the most difficult things I did trying to get into West Point. I took, between the ACT and SAT, I took it 11 times.
Wow.
I was a great student. I just couldn't take a test. And so I worked my butt off and studied day after day after day after day for those tests to finally, by the end, achieve mid-30s, which was good enough to encourage my acceptance. So I like to say that to anyone who's listening. If you plan on applying, no matter what grade you're in, no matter where you are in school, look on the calendar, find the next ACT or SAT, and take it. And take it again and take it again and study if you want that opportunity, because in order to swing the dial most on your application, those standardized test scores are the biggest thing weighted. But going back to what you were originally saying, when I go to West Point in 54 and a butt days, I report for our day, I would love to be an aerospace engineer major. That is the goal. I know that is competitive. I think I'm smart, and I think I can pull it off. And then I would love to be an aviation officer and fly, hopefully, the new MV-75 Cheyenne II afterwards, if it is in operation by the time I commission as a pilot.
Well, hey, those are lofty goals, and I'm certainly glad you guys could join us today. Brian, I think I've killed our clock, so I know we still got a little more time to talk. So, that's our closing music right there. So, Stephen, best of luck to you at West Point.
Thank you, sir.
I am your mentor.
Yes,
I will be doing whatever I can to help you out. There's a copy of Bugle Notes if you need to look at that, but thank you, Steve and Stephen. and Jennifer. We're glad y'all are here with us today. We had an impressive young man with us, Steve Case, who is a member of the class of 2030 at the U.S. Military Academy. Brian, and we'll go ahead and get out of here now. Folks, hope you enjoyed it. This is The Point with Bill Crawford, and I'm out of here.
Next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
HD 97.7.2 WZZN FM Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Talk Radio